You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Yes, you most certainly are. Yeah, it's the big show. Another show to tell you that. And karma is a bitch. It's the big show. This is my friend that stayed in the haunted hotel, but the haunted hotel shut down. Everybody went on furlough. Yeah. She slept at the graveyard. Turns out ghosts still work during the furlough. Yeah. You're listening to Truth on Tap with your host, Kevin Kierstead. Tonight, we're getting into it again. We're getting into why the government is closed down. And we're getting into what you really need to worry about. Oh, you looked around today, you might have seen some news pieces here or there, and you said to yourself, ain't this kind of a bitch? I could still go to Disneyland if I want, but the World War II vets cannot go to see the World War II memorial. That's kind of a thing. Yes, they broke in and got their way. Did you see how the congressmen came in and were surrounding these men and hugging them? How much of that do you think was genuine? And if it wasn't, let's say you think 50% was genuine and 50% of the congressmen that came in there were not being genuine. They were doing the photo op, saying, look at us, we support vets. What if it was just 50% doing that? Is that enough to make you want to vomit? Did you sit there and look at that like, wait a minute? You're all in there hugging these 80-year-old veterans that are about to kick the bucket. We don't have a lot of World War II veterans left. And hugging them as if you feel their pain. You really feel their pain. You're sharing it with them because you honor our American heroes, don't you? Every last one of you is so full of shit that if those guys were healthy enough, they would have kicked you in the balls so hard that you would have remembered what you had for lunch last month. Ridiculous and pathetic. And these little gatherings they're having at a Washington spot here and a Washington spot there where 4 or 5 from each party come up. And this is what our party's doing. Nay. And this is what the other party's not doing. No. Pretty ridiculous, isn't it? And I'm going to get all kinds of arguments tonight about, well, wait a minute. We have to stop spending. It's gotten out of control. This is a good time to shut the government down. We have to stop ObamaCare, a.k.a. this shit's going to kill us. You're going to get that argument, and then you're going to get, excuse me, we were just coming into this CR clean. There wasn't a deal that was supposed to be had. All of a sudden, somebody grabs it, picks it up, and says, you're not getting this. Oh, you thought you was getting this? You're not getting this. You got to do that little dance. No, the little dance wasn't enough. We need you to do a big dance. No, forget that. We need you to do a stadium full of Macarenas on tight ropes. Yeah, that's what we're looking for before we'll pass a small CR. And then, with this in mind, keeping in mind that a small faction, and this is true, you can disagree or not, but it's true, there is a small faction led by the extreme right within the Republican Party that is pushing Boehner and some of his cronies towards saying, we got to fight this fight. And what a sad thing, because most Republicans, I think, in the House are saying, can we negotiate at another time? This wasn't really a time we had in mind. But it is some kind of leverage. But what we're doing is we're shooting ourselves in the face to get rid of a mole that we don't like with a spread shot, bird shot shotgun. How's that working out for you? So America is going to be walking around going, oof, 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 because we have no face, but we will have stopped a potentially bad health care plan. I'm looking. I got my scales out here. I got the potentially bad health care plan on one side, and I got my America, naturally the anthropomorphic figure that I'm making America. She might even look like the Statue of Liberty, and her face has been shot off. And the Republicans shot her face off. The Democrats finally let go of the health care, so that's on the other end of the balance. And I've got the health care that nobody really knows about, but so many seem to think is evil. We'll get back to that. Now, I'm looking at my Statue of Liberty on the left side scale, and I didn't choose the left side for any other reason than that's the way it popped up in my mind. And sure enough, she's missing her face, going, "Arf, arf, arf." She's trying to sing, "Send me, you're weak and you're poor and you're miserable," but she cannot. All she's got is the "arf, arf, arf." And I'm thinking, fuck, let's not have done that. How about we don't shoot our Statue of Liberty in the face? We let her keep shining her bright light, and we pick another time to fight this battle. Kick the can down the road? That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that one of the concessions here can be we're agreeing to get into this budget battle, and we're going to agree to it for 6 weeks straight, and what must come out of it is an agreement, and if an agreement doesn't come out of it, then we may revert to putting large items back on the table. What that does is opens your government back up so you're not losing $1 billion a day. What that does is not approach to you possibly having a double whammy situation coming up at the end of October, because when the debt ceiling is not raised, all hell will break loose in your backyard and beyond. We could be looking at a total financial collapse in the United States and thereby around the world. Asian markets might hang on. Everybody else is going down. All right? Over what? Over what again? Because one small faction of one party decided they didn't like a health care plan and that they were going to hold the hostage of America and the world at gunpoint and say, no, we don't approve this. We're shutting down the government. We will not pay our bills for the first time in history. We will lose our credit rating. The stock market will panic and flop. It will implode, and there will be a financial disaster. The dollar will become worthless. If you don't have gold, you don't eat. There will be riots in the streets. People with bunkers will be like, told y'all so. Told y'all this was coming. Is that what we want to happen in 3 weeks? Is that really what we want to happen? Now let's stop for a second. Whole lot of blame going around, isn't there? And some of you are saying, Kevin, you're wrong. You're wrong about this stuff. Damn it. We need to get spending under control, and this is a hard-line tactic way to do it. Is it? Is it going to get you what you want? Let's go ahead and go into your scenario where you get what you want. See if you've imagined this end game yet. 2 days from now, the Democrats come across and say, we have agreed to postpone Obamacare for a year, which I don't even think they're allowed to do since this has gone through the Supreme Court and been mandated the law of the land. Nobody understands Obamacare. Every state can ignore Obamacare if they can come up with a better plan. There are vouchers, all kinds of shit that people just don't know. They want to hate one side or the other, so they do it. They don't read anything. Did you see the video? Oh, thank you, Kate, for sharing this video. Jimmy Kimmel did it last night. Oh, it was beautiful. Goes out on Hollywood Boulevard. Now, we don't have, first of all, Hollywood Boulevard's not the best place to ask political questions. You're generally going to get a more obscure crowd out there to answer questions. Secondly, we don't know how many answer the questions properly, because Jimmy Kimmel, like any talk show host, is going to put on the clowns. The ones that make for entertainment. Now, he was asking people what they thought, and look it up, please. God, everybody needs to see this. They was asking people what they thought was better, Obamacare or the Affordable Health Care Act. Now, which one do you think is better? The Affordable Care Act or Obamacare? I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. Which one do you think is better? The Affordable Care Act or Obamacare? Which one? You got your thing. Say it out loud. I want you to say it out loud and around the people that you're sitting around now. Which one's better? Okay. What Jimmy Kimmel and most semi-intelligent Americans knew was that Affordable Health Care Plan, the Affordable Care Plan, and Obamacare are the same thing. Did you know that? Yeah, Obamacare is a nickname for that. There's exactly 0.0% difference between Obamacare and the Affordable Health Care Act. Yeah. So if you didn't know that, I'm going to place a wager right now, if we could, walk over to the roulette wheel, that you don't know a whole lot of shit about anything that's going on right now. And for that reason, you should probably keep your opinions to yourself. Having said that, I'll bet your opinions are pretty strong. And now one must ask, why? Fill in this gap for me. You're not up on the situation, but you're pissed off. Why? Because now we're at the truth. Now we're at the truth. Right now, I am 11 minutes and 44 seconds into my broadcast, and we have arrived at the truth. Fill in that blank. Do it silently if you have to, if you're afraid of what people will think. All right? Because if you didn't know what was going on, if you didn't understand the Affordable Care Act, if you did not understand what a shutdown is versus a debt ceiling raise, if you did not understand the differences between a government shutdown and a debt ceiling raise, and you've got huge opinions on it, ask why. Why? Let me give you a comparison. Think about something you know nothing about. I'll give you an example. I'll do it on myself. What do I know nothing about? I am pretty bad with, like, house engineering. Like, I don't have the knowledge to build a house from scratch. I wouldn't know, how do you do the foundation? How do you lay where do you do the pillars first? Do you do the corners after you do the foundation? Don't you have to, who has to come inspect that? I don't know. I don't know that stuff. So I'm going to go walk out on the street where there's this big debate going on about how houses should be built. And I'm going to walk up to somebody and say, that's all wrong. That's all wrong, man. This way over here is right. This way is right. Well, clearly, I didn't say those things because I knew it. So why? Why did I say it? Is it because I hated one party? Is it because I hated one president? And then we have to get into why we hated one president or one party. Did we just hate people on the left? Did we just hate people on the right? What a mix. What a mix of people you'll find on both sides as far as their intelligence levels and their knowledge levels about current political situations compared to their input levels. If there's somebody out there who doesn't follow this shit, and is just kind of detached from it, they voted for the candidate they best thought could help the country. They did it from their heart. They don't follow the bullshit. They believe that it's the media just making money. They don't think it's as important as it's being made out to be, and therefore they do not opine. I respect them. I have full respect for them. They're not trying to get in and stick a spoon in the soup bowl that they did not put the ingredients into. They're standing outside. They may smell it wafting, may even want a cup if it's possible. But they're not in there trying to talk about how it's being made, What I'm saying is you have to confess something to yourself. Either you are educated on everything that's going on right now and you have made your educated choice as to what needs to happen, or you need to back off of your opinions and get into your education. because what's in between is you admitting something embarrassing. Now, you can fit in there whatever you want to. Whatever you want to. You can fit in there, I hate the left because Fox News told me to. You can fit in there, I hate Obama because he's a Negro. You can fit in there, I can't stand that bitch Nancy Pelosi, therefore I hate the entire left. You can fit in there, my favorite president was a Republican, Ronald Reagan, therefore I hate all Democrats. And as you go through those, MSNBC told me to hate the right, so I hate the right. As you're going through these, you should be recognizing how empty they are. Look at you, all excited about the politics that someone has told you to think a certain way about. I don't know about you, but if that dawned on me, I'd feel ashamed that I had any opinions on politics. I'd be out there going, what the fuck am I talking about construction for? I need to get into some books. Somebody take me to some tutorials on how to build a house. I need at least 5-10 books. I'm going to have to watch a shitload of videos. I'm going to have to talk to experts. I'm going to have to go look at current models, go look at failed models. And then I'll be able to talk with some education about these houses and how they're built and maybe how there's better ways to build them than other ways. This is what's going on that's driving me fucking batty. It's people not knowing what the hell's going on, but acting like they do, assuming that they do, when really, you know you don't. You know you're smart enough to know you don't know what's going on, but you hate one side or the other enough that you're going to scream about it. So you're going to look at your side, grab 2 or 3 talking points, and hammer them all day long, over and over your talking loop. One side should have done this or that, and the other side should have done that or this, and that's what you'll say over and over. You won't look any deeper into it. You don't want to hear anything good about the other side. All you want to hear is good about your side. Meanwhile, there are children right now who are going to possibly die because they cannot get treatment from the NIH for their, basically their last-ditch efforts for these treatments that are basically experimental in nature. They don't want to call them that. They have other words for them. But they're, look, we've tried everything else. Hell, kid, this will give you a shot. They're turning them away right now. Now, somebody's tried to flip this around in the media and say, well, look, the Republicans want to pass these little segments of bills. Okay, well, we'll keep the National Guard funded. We'll keep the NIH funded. Let's see. We'll put 50% of the FDA inspectors back that aren't working right now. We'll keep the World War II memorial funded. Meanwhile, there are 70 or 80 other major categories of people who have walked home who are not working. Everything from intelligence in the United States being diminished greatly right now to the point where we cannot adequately defend our country, and you can believe the bad guys are looking on, to military members that are in the National Guard or reserves. They're home. They're not working. They're not coming in on weekends. No weekend warrior for them. It's weekend worrier for them now. They've gone from weekend warrior to weekend worrier. Who's winning here? Some might say it's that small faction over on the right. He stays low, doesn't he? Stays low. Doesn't get his name out there too often. I'll give you 3 guesses who this guy is, but you only need one, and it's not all him. It's not all him. But he seems to be enjoying the reference that he gets to being the one in the driver's seat for this push against Obama and everything Obama stands for. As you've heard in the media on various channels, and I try to listen to as many as I can, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that there's a certain amount I can take of Fox or MSNBC before I start getting nauseous because of how biased they are. And then I start getting back and looking for more center line ones. They can lean a little left or a little right, But I got to get away from the extremes. It makes me nauseous. Gives me that same feeling of watching the senators out there trying to hug those World War II veterans when it was the fucking senators that have shut the government down. You know, senators, House of Representatives, don't do that bullshit. Just for God's sakes, you look like clowns. You know, how stupid do you think we are? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It is unbelievable. It's like the soldiers on Sherman's march coming up to the house where they've just lit it on fire, taken all the goods out of it, and raped the women inside, and saying, "We're sorry. We know you must be going through hell here, but you see, we're in this war, you know, and there's going to have to be casualties. You know, so we had to take all your food, and our guys had to have some fun, you know. Sorry, you know, but there's going to have to be casualties. We really feel for you." That's kind of what it makes me think of. Oh, what a shame this is. My idea, this is what I'd like to see happen, that I don't think I'll ever see happen. I would like this president and all future presidents to refuse negotiations. And if we I'd like to get it into law. But even if not, we could make it an unwritten rule, the same way that we have made it a rule that we do not negotiate with terrorists, and we don't. That around the time that it comes to pass small CRs or big budgets, like, you know, the fiscal budget that's going to keep the government open, or raise the debt ceiling to pay for the bills for the money we've already spent, which a lot of people don't even understand. They think we're raising the debt ceiling so we can go borrow more money to blow. That's asking for more credit on our card because we spent too much before. All of us, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, all of us spent too much. That is a problem that needs to be brought under control, not this way. This is not how you bring that under control. This is how you send your country into total reckless failure. You work these problems out over a longer term by putting conditions on time limits and getting votes in the Congress, Senate, and the House, having town halls with your constituents and your states, making sure they understand what the hell's going on, and then getting back together with people on both sides of the aisle and whoever's in the White House and saying, okay, we're going to have to give up some stuff, and so are you. Let's go ahead and hash this out, and do this in a way where you do not scare the entire world into hibernation. I mean, people are already pulling their money from the markets, and we're not even up on the debt ceiling deadline yet. You know why? It's because they see that nothing is moving. And if nothing is moving now, they have no reason to believe that anything will move on the debt ceiling negotiations. There should never be negotiations that allow the debt ceiling raising to be denied. That's got to be automatic. Spending control has to happen before that. This is where you whip out the credit card and pay the bill. You can't say, well, we're not going to pay our bill unless we get this, since we have control of the House, or since we are in control of the Senate. And it doesn't work that way. You do that, you're going to destroy this country. We are on the verge of destroying this country. It could happen. I don't want to scare people unnecessarily. Right now, what you're seeing is just a pimple, okay? It's just a pimple. It's just a zit. It may be popped. It may be wiped with astringent. It may be glorified. Look at my zit. Okay, but what it's going to turn into next week is a big cyst. And what it's going to turn into a week after that is a giant, malignant, cancerous, exploding brain tumor that there will be no recovery from. That means it needs to be fixed now. Because if you push the deadline right on up to the end, you're too late. Even if you pass it, the credit rating gets dropped again. You saw what happened last time. It wasn't that we passed and didn't raise the debt ceiling. It was the threat thereof. We got too close to the deadline. They dropped us. Okay, we dropped down to, I believe, a AA and a half, I don't know, from our AAA rating, or down to AA and maybe gain a half point back from one of the rating agencies. Sad. First time that's ever happened in the U.S. And now the world says, whoa, whoa, whoa. Those are the guys that are strong. Whoa, holy shit. If they start wobbling, we got no chance. You know, we call ourselves leaders, and this is what we do. This is the show we give the world. They're laughing at us right now. China knows if they wanted to make a move right now, they could probably put a pretty good dent into us if they wanted to invade. It's that kind of world right now with this bullshit going on in Washington. So how are you going to fix it? God. There's something I haven't told you yet, and that is that there's a reason this deadlock is going on in Washington and stays deadlocked. And that is because the people in this country are perfectly evenly divided. Those people in Washington are our representatives. We voted them in. And it turns out that we voted about half of one type and about half of another. And it turns out that in this magical triage we have of a system and balanced government, rock, paper, scissors are not at play. It's more like rock, rock, paper. Looking kind of funky, this game here that's going back and forth. Not going to produce very fair results. So what are we going to do? First, you've got to get educated on what's going on. I'm just asking you, for those that haven't, some of you are going, Kevin, I know my shit. Shut the fuck up. Okay, man, I hear you. I'm sorry. I wasn't talking to you. All right? I got you. Some of you are going, I know more than you do, Kevin. You may. I ain't here to contest that. I'm just talking to the people who don't know anything about it and who need to learn something about it before they go casting blame. You're going to find, once you do your reading, that there are some simple solutions. I'm going to stay, being a centerline guy that occasionally leans toward the left and occasionally leans back toward the right when I see things getting flimsy. I kind of hold, it's like I'm on the saddle in the middle, but I'm not afraid to reach down and grab my hat when it falls off on either side. It's not a problem for me. And right now, let's just go with the polls. Do you have a poll that you trust? Maybe you don't trust CNN polls. Do you trust Gallup? If you don't trust them, maybe you trust the ORT polls or whatever. Go ahead and pick your favorite polling and pick your favorite paper. And I'm hoping that they use some truth in their reporting. And you'll see that the longer this goes on, the more blame Republicans will take. There's an election next year. Oh, yeah. Then there's an election 2 years after that. Then there's an election 2 years after that. You see this pattern? The American people are not going to forget. And right now, the American people, by double-digit percentage points, are blaming the Republicans in Congress over the Democrats or the president or his staff. Okay? That's the way the American public is measuring out right now in the polls. That means that if they're blaming the Republicans and the Republicans don't stop and push a CR through and then start working on their debates with their Obamacare issues, which they can, that fight can go on and on. You don't have to hold hostages to have that fight. If they don't do this, I guarantee you that Democrats get full control of the House and Senate, and that comes in 2014, whereby if anything gets repealed from Obamacare, it's just going to get put back in, and then guess what? It's going to get ratified. It's going to get stronger. It's going to become more status quo. The 2016 Democrat president that will win, because why? The American people haven't forgotten. They haven't forgotten what happened in 2013. They're putting in a Democratic president and keeping a majority House and Senate Democrat. All right? So the Democrat plans are rolling through like a semi. And this is going to go on through 2018, through 2020. If that's what you want, then I recommend you keep doing that thing you're doing there, Republicans, and play that hard line. Don't offer a clean resolution. Insist on getting what you want. Insist on it. Make this a bargaining time over one of the most important things we can pass to keep our reputation fair and safe. Go ahead, make it a bargaining thing. And if we still have a country left in 2014, you won't be enjoying your office at that time because people will not forget. And they're going to learn. People are getting into the articles now. They're interested. They're learning that their food's not getting inspected. Guess what? It's already hitting home. You've got food not getting inspected. You've got, I'm thinking of right here around where I live. One of the most popular avenues people take to work is the Colonial Parkway down in Jamestown, Yorktown. They had big old blockades set up, closed, because it's the park rangers that patrol that. That's national parkland. It's closed. So just off the bat, right off the top of my head, around my small little area, you're introducing a brand new major traffic problem, a brand new challenge with people having to spend more fuel to get to work, and the confusion that it brings with it and the stress. Just in my little tiny area. Already, that's what's hit. Multiply that times 400 million thousand squared, and you'll start to get a feeling for what's going on around the country. But multiply that times like 10 to the 50th power, and you'll see what's going to happen if we mess with the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling's coming up around 1017. That thing needs to be done by the 10th. It needs to be done and approved by October 10th. And do you think they're even going to talk about making concessions there if they haven't even worked out shutting down the government yet? That's when the credit rating gets reduced, around the 10th if we haven't done anything. That's when everybody yanks their money out of the stock market, goes and buys gold, panics, and hopes for the best. I mean, it's survival bunker time at that point. This is what we could be looking at. You may want to go ahead and get in touch with your congressman at this point and insist on something reasonable. Yep. You may want to do that. You might need to do some reading first, just to make sure you understand what it is you're asking for. 5 news articles, 10 news articles should give you a good lead-in. Try to find some independent sources. Read some Reuters, read some BBC. Then if you got to go to your Fox or your MSNBC, go there. If you're going to one, go to the other, though, so you can get the balanced approach. And then even if you're just pointing at one going, they're all wrong about everything, just go ahead and read them and look at what everybody's saying, okay? Something's got to give here. Something's got to give, and it's got to give soon. We run this down to the line, to the wire, it fails. We can't even get close to the 17th or 18th of October. It fails. Big time. I think this president and all future U.S. presidents of any party should refuse any types of negotiations around a fiscal budget or a CR leading thereto, or the raising of the debt ceiling. Refuse it. Make it an absolute non-starter. Let people know, no matter which party they're coming in from, that whoever occupies the White House is not going to negotiate on anything at that time that would hang up our government staying open or hang up the United States paying its bills on time. I didn't take any calls tonight. I didn't take any texts. This is an ongoing thing. I may do that again tomorrow. I haven't slept for a couple days, so before I get too emotional into this, I'm just going to call it a day. I'm going to call it a show, but I'm not going to let you go without hearing some beautiful music first. And that will come from your favorite band, of course, Bad Ace. We're going to play Bad Ace, Falling Faces, one of my favorites. And if I have it, I might play you another random song. I like to get these songs down from CC Mixter and just throw this What the Hell's Going On song on there for you. And I have trouble remembering which ones I've heard, so I always like to try to play new ones. So I'm looking now. Here we go. I don't think I've heard this one. It's called J. Lang, Drop the H2O. All right, something about the filtered water treatment. That's going to be interesting. So what you're going to hear is Falling Faces by Bad Ace. They're a local group. You can find them online, badace.com. Find them on Facebook. Drummer in that group, Todd Jenkins, he's got Western Shore Incorporated, HVAC. Take care of your air conditioning and heating needs if you're anywhere near the Northern Neck. I'm going to play them. You're listening right now to a very special show, and let me just remind you of what that is.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
Up next to falling faces off the wall, and I creep these hallways under tears I've cried for you. I'm falling, torn between the dark and light, and I'm calling for your kiss to calm the fight. Now I know it's a little too late for fantasies, but I've always dreamed you'd be the one for me. Now I see it's another lonely night for dreaming, yeah. I'll not be free, 'cause I never was a true believer. I want you to know I was better off dreaming anyway. I'm no longer waiting outside for you today. My, it's another lonely night for dreaming.